it's Bree with Califia Candle Company. I've had a few people ask for me to show how I get that marbled metallic swirl in my vessel. Like in this one, for example, this is one of my spring candles. So I figured I would make a quick video to show you guys, and I'll show you how I achieved this vessel. This is actually a mix of rose gold and copper metallic paint. So I'll go ahead and show you how I did that, and if you're interested, just keep on watching, and I hope you enjoy. It is really windy today, so if you hear that, I apologize, but it's been kind of howling off and on, and we had a little bit of rain last night too, so you might hear some wind in the video, so sorry about that. My husband recently put together one of these shelving units from Costco for me, and it looks a little bit empty right now, but this is where I've been putting like extra jars that I have if I run out of room inside, and just all my different supplies and things like that. I have extra wax and distilled water. And then somebody had posted on the Concrete Facebook group that they got these off of Amazon for storing the pigments, and I thought that was a really good idea. So I got 5 of them. I got 2 bigger ones for the black iron oxide and the titanium dioxide, and then a couple smaller ones just for the colors that I use the most. I do have a few other colors that I don't use as frequently, so I just have those in Ziploc bags, but this comes in really handy, and all you have to do is lift up this lid here and scoop out what you need and then close it back up. So I'll have those linked down below if you're interested. And then these are the paints that I used for that vessel. So I have the rose gold. I use this in a lot of the stuff that I make. I love how it looks. And then this is the copper that I use. This is called antique copper. I got this one at Hobby Lobby, and I think I got this at Walmart, either Walmart or off of Amazon, but whatever works. And of course you don't have to use these exact colors. I'm just gonna show you the method that I used. I've migrated my pouring station to this workbench that actually was left from the previous owners of this home, and it's pretty old and gross looking, but it works for right now. My husband is going to redo it for me because it looks gross, but also it's really old, I think, and it's sagging. So I tried to keep my moles in the middle because that's the most even. I found that if I was pouring them on either side, they were coming out a little bit lopsided. So that I can't wait to get redone. But it works for right now, and there's an outlet right there too, so I can plug in my little vibrating machine, which I actually haven't been using lately. I kind of go in phases where I use it and then I don't. I've just been tapping lately, but you know what, maybe we'll make 2 in this video, and we'll do one tapping and one with a vibrating machine, and then do a comparison, because sometimes you have to be careful with this little machine, because if you use it for too long, or if you have it up too high, it will actually create more bubbles. So yeah, let's do that. We'll do a little comparison video. But before I get started, I'm just gonna kind of clean this up because it's a little unorganized right now. So I'll do that, and then I'll come back and we can get started. So for this demonstration, I am just gonna be making one at a time. So I just have my cement all, and I did add 1 teaspoon of titanium dioxide to this. I normally don't do that, but for these spring vessels, I decided to give it a try. So I've been doing that, and I have been liking how it's been turning out, so I might keep doing that for my normal vessels. We'll see. So I'm gonna mix that in first, and then start adding in my distilled water. Okay, I just turned on this light, so hopefully you can see a little bit better. And like I've always said, I just eyeball it until I get that pancake batter / milkshake consistency. I know a lot of people get frustrated with that, but I don't like using exact measurements because I find that it changes depending on the weather. So Eyeballing it is just what works best for me. So I'm just mixing this up, making sure there's no clumps. And I like to kind of drag my spatula against the side of the bowl. And that will smooth out some clumps too if you see any. I'm gonna add a little bit more because we are adding paint. I want the concrete mixture to be a little bit on the thinner side than I would normally do, because the paint definitely thickens it up. All right, that's probably good. So now I'm gonna go ahead and shake up my paints, and all I do is just do a little bit of each. Again, I don't really measure, just add in however much I want. So we have it in there. And then this is the important part, just gently do a couple little swooshes of it, but you don't want to mix it in too much because then you'll lose that marbled effect. And then we pour, and I kind of swirl it around. Oops. Just clean that up. So I'll have this one be the one that we tap and bounce. All right, that's probably good, so I'll go ahead and set that one aside. So I have the next batch now. I'm just mixing in that titanium dioxide. Now I'm gonna start adding my water. And regardless if I'm filming or not, I actually do like pouring one at a time when it comes to these marbled swirls, because I find that it becomes difficult if you're doing more than one jar to get the paint in each jar evenly, if that makes sense. Like, a lot of it will flow into the first jar and then you don't have that much left for the second or third one. And then if you try adding more, then it thickens everything up more and it becomes this mess. So for me, even though it might not be as efficient, I do prefer to pour one at a time when it comes to these marbled vessels. Okay, so those clumps are all gone. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add my paint to this one. And then again, I'm just gonna gently do a couple swirls. So I brought over the vibrating machine. Go ahead and pour our mixture in. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn this on low for maybe just about 10 or 15 seconds at the most. Okay, it brought a few bubbles to the surface, but not too many. Now I'll go ahead and set that one aside as well. And we'll remember that the one on the top was the vibrating machine, and then the one on the bottom here is using the bounce and tap method. So they probably are going to take a little bit longer to dry today because it is cold. So we'll come back in maybe like 3 hours and check on them, and as long as they're not warm to the touch anymore, they are okay to unmold. All right, so it has been about 3.5 hours and these are no longer warm. So I'm gonna go ahead and unmold them. And this one is the one that we tapped and bounced. So there is how that one turned out. Not really any bubbles at all, except for just a few on the bottom there, but that is about it. There's nothing really over here on the vessel or inside. So that one turned out really nice. Now for the vibrating machine. So this one turned out really nice as well. I think I added a little bit more paint to this one, so that's why it's showing up more. So here's a close-up and a little bit of better lighting. You can really see that shimmer from the metallic paint, which I think is so pretty. This was the vibrating machine method, and then this one was the tap and bounce method. These will lighten up over time as well as they dry out. So they'll appear a little bit lighter in color like the one I showed in the beginning. But overall, I think both methods work really well for getting most of those bubbles out. It really just depends on what you want to do. Like I said, I go back and forth between using the vibrating machine and not, just depending on what I feel like that day. So don't feel like you have to buy that vibrating machine to get beautiful vessels, because you don't. And another thing I want to note is, and I've said this before, but don't drive yourself crazy over those tiny little bubbles. I used to do that in the beginning of all of this, and the customers, they don't care. So don't stress out about that. And to me, it adds character, and it shows that each vessel is truly handmade and one of a kind. So don't let that get to you. But that, I think, is the end of the video. So I hope you guys found it helpful, and if you did, feel free to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.